Hello, all my friends out there in TV land. This is Senior Issues, etc. I'm your host, Vita Verdon. And you know, we're just getting through the Easter season, and I always have your best interest at heart. And my job as a community service information talking head, that I look for the best to bring you, that you can get your bang for the buck and get the most information. Now, this guest that I have on the show today, I think this is probably his third appearance on the show, and I asked him to come back because the unique part of him, we call him our Renaissance lawyer, is he's a man that wears many hats, but what I find so inspiring about, his name is Bob Monohan, what I find so inspiring about him is that he has a heart for community service like I have. I have a heart for the community, that I'm a part of the community, and it is my desire to give back to the community. And it's my good pleasure that we have a relationship. I give back, and I feel how you have been so receptive, or I couldn't have the show for the last 18 years. Now, he is a man of as I say, many talents. Not only is he his business is a lawyer, he's a father, he's a husband, but what he has is he has a radio show, and he has a television show, and he has a website, and who knows what the next thing is up his sleeve. So we're going to get right back to him.
Great.
And what you can look into, for the sake of people who have not heard a little bit about you, look right into that camera and tell them a little bit about yourself. And you know, we go through this macaroni business.
We have to.
Yeah.
It'll be the third time we've done that, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
My kids don't get sick of it.
I know.
They don't get tired of it. They love it, right?
They love it. Okay.
So my name's Bob Monohan. I have a lovely wife named Maria. Mwah. Love you, Maria. I have 3 beautiful children. The oldest is James. Now, he's 12, so he's getting a little old, so I'm going to embarrass him, okay? Mwah. I love you, James. My middle guy is Jack. He's 10, and mwah, I love him too. And lastly comes my girl, my only girl, Emily, and she's 8. And mwah, I love you, Emily. Okay, so that's my family. That's Maria, James, Jack, and Emily.
Okay. Now, what are you going to give us some secrets and tips on today?
Well, you know, the last time we met, we talked a little bit about wills and trusts, and we talked about ways people could maybe do that themselves or look into it, and what they needed to know if they were going to use a tool on the computer, like something called LegalZoom, and that was wills and trusts. But another kind of work I do is injury work, and today I thought I'd give some tips on injury work and insurance. Okay?
Oh, so what you're talking about is what people should know, is what they should gather themselves,
that's right, yeah.
how they could do it without a lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, in my show, I say we demystify the law for you and your family. And what I mean by that is you need to know when you need a lawyer, why you need a lawyer, and what your lawyer does for you. So,
well, to start off with, why don't you, I hope you have a paper and pencil, because he's got a lot of information. So if you don't have one, now's the time to go and get it and come and sit down so that you can record some of this information, because you're not going to get it on any other show. And you know what? This guy's a treasure chest, and I squeeze everything out of him. And he's wearing a lot of hats, and I talk him into coming out and giving to you, because I want you to get this free.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I like communicating. I like talking. Like you said, I talk on a radio show called Everyday Law. And you know, you inspired me to start a TV show, a cable access TV show called Everyday Law. It's the same title. And I like communicating this stuff to people. I think, like I said, it's important for people to know about the law, because people find the law so intimidating and scary.
Right. Okay, now, when is your radio show on?
Oh, my radio show? It's on a radio station called WRLR 98.3 FM. It's the voice of Lake County, okay?
The voice of Lake
Yeah.
County.
It broadcasts from a low-power radio station in Round Lake Heights.
But does it cover a wide area?
It reaches most of Lake County, a little bit of Wisconsin, and a little bit of McHenry County, too. And it's on every other Thursday night at 7 p.m.
Okay. Now your TV show.
Now that's on every Monday at 5:30 on
Okay.
Comcast 17, the same station we're on right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the same station that I'm on too. I'm on well, I'm on in a lot of different areas at a lot of different
That's
times.
right.
They have to
right.
go to a.
Comcast is one of the ones you're on. I
Right.
think I'm only on Comcast 17.
But you are spreading out. And then your website. How about what is your website?
Oh, sure. My website is my name, firm. It's www.monohanfirm.com.
All lowercase.
Okay? All lower cases.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then your telephone number.
Oh, 847-848-6165.
Now, I've given you enough time to get your paper and pencil because now we're getting right down into
Now we're going to get to the substance
to
of
the
it.
nitty-gritty.
The nitty-gritty, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's start with injury.
Injuries and insurance. You know, what I wanted to start out by saying is that we talked about a little bit before the show. Many people don't like injury attorneys. Many people think we're ambulance chasers.
That's what I said.
Ambulance chasers. That was the first thing you said, right?
Ambulance
yeah.
chaser.
Yeah, that's what people think of us as.
What they want is your buck.
They want your money. And we have a bad reputation. People think we raise insurance prices, that we only care about the money, and that, yeah, we're ambulance chasers. People think of cases that make the news and just seem extraordinary.
And who they catch isn't a person, it's a dollar sign.
It's a dollar sign, yeah. But I don't think of things that way. I think of injury work as, I think of myself as a hero. I think of myself as a hero, and someone's been hurt in an injury case, usually through someone's fault. It has to be through someone's fault. You only have a good injury case if someone's acted badly. For example, texting on their phone or drunk
what I'm
driving.
interested in with you as a lawyer, what are you going to give me free?
What am I going to give you free?
Yeah, that's
Oh, you mean right now?
Right now.
Well, what I wanted to say first was that this work is good work, right? I think it's good work, and like people don't like insurance. People don't like lawyers, but they like insurance companies even less when they've been hurt. Okay. So what do you want to know for free?
Well, what I want to know for free is how could I handle my insurance claim or injury claim without getting a lawyer? What do I need to know?
The first thing I'd tell you is that every good claim has two parts.
Okay.
Okay? And they're not as simple and straightforward as you might think. Every injury claim needs a fault and an injury, okay?
Okay.
So fault, you think, well, someone did something wrong. It's pretty straightforward. What's so hard about that? But it can have some nuance to it, okay? But every good injury claim, I would say at first, has to have fault and injury.
Okay.
And when you're putting together your claim, if you're submitting your claim yourself to the insurance company without a lawyer, you need to document everything you can about the fault, who did something wrong, and you need to document everything you can about your injury,
Well, what do
how
you
it
mean
hurt
by
you.
document? You have to take a picture?
Well, documentation, insurance companies love documentation.
Okay.
So I almost want to say document everything you can think of. But let me tell you, the first thing, say you're in an auto accident.
Okay.
The first documentation you want to look for is the police report.
Okay.
Because the police report will have your description of the accident, the other driver's description of the accident. It'll have who got a ticket in the accident. So the officer that comes to the scene will assess, well, looking at this and this story, looking at this and this story, and looking at how the cars ended up, they'll give someone a ticket maybe, and that helps assess who's at fault for the accident.
Okay.
Also, the police report will list who are the witnesses to the accident, who saw it happen, were there passengers, and so on. Not only does it list their names, it lists their phone numbers, so you can contact them and get a witness statement. So the first thing you need is a police report, and that's the first piece of documentation you need in, say, an auto accident.
Okay. And now what's the second piece?
Photographs.
Photographs.
We all have these cell phones with us now.
Okay.
Everybody has one almost,
Okay.
and they have great photo-taking capabilities, okay?
Okay.
So if you're in, say, an auto accident
Right.
again, you want to take a lot of photos of your own car and the other car, and maybe the scene, if the scene is important, and how it happened.
Okay.
And let me tell you this, when you take photos of your car, just so you know, I just did a show with an accident reconstruction expert.
Okay.
And he said this: you want to take progressively closer photos of the damage.
The damage.
Some people will get right up on the damaged part of their car and take a photo of that, and when you show it to the adjuster or the court, well, no one knows what it's a picture of because it's too close, it's too focused.
So you have to take that, plus you have to take an overhaul picture. That's an important clue. Now, remember that. You got that free.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to start out with a kind of a wide angle view of the scene of the cars. And then if there's property damage, like a bent, like if it's a T-bone accident and the door is crumpled in, you want to take a wide angle view of the car, get progressively closer to the dent on the car.
So you need to take a series, not just one snapshot, because it's not one size fits all.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
It's not one size fits all. You need a progressive thing to give a more accurate view.
So those are things you want to establish. Those are documents that can help establish fault. Things like a police report, things like photographs, things like witness statements, And that helps establish who's at fault in, say, a car accident. The next part is your injury.
Okay.
And you can document that yourself as well. How do you document an injury? With medical bills
Your medical
and
bills.
medical records.
And medical records, whether you have to go to a hospital.
That's right.
So you have to have all those. So you should have really a folder that you're putting all this in, that it's not scattered all over the place. Well, you know what? We're going to get back to this, but now I've got Vita's Pearls of Wisdom, and so we're going to come back. The time has gone by so fast. All right, now the first thing I want to talk about is my cameraman here on the crew, and he's been with me for a long time, is Joe Pazalagua. He's 94 years old, and he's a Second World War veteran. Well, I'm telling you, right now, we're in springtime of 2018, and Joe is going to be honored at the ballpark at the opening day of the ballpark. I'm not sure when it is or when you're going to see it, whatever the opening day is. And he's going to be, his name is going to be announced over the loudspeakers. So hallelujah for that.
Good job,
we all
Joe.
give an applause to go. That's the way to go, Joe. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is if you go to my website, and you go on to you'll come onto the home page and go onto the page that it says about you, and that what you'll see is the production manager of this crew is Gloria Shapiro, and myself were interviewed by Bob on his podcast, and we have it on a podcast at his radio show, and we have it on a podcast. And on this podcast, that it will tell you, so what he asked us was some of the secrets, how we got the show going and how we keep the show going. And you know, I always like to bring the secrets to you. The best is yet to come, you know that. And that's why I get the best for you. Now, the next thing to go on is I have about 95 shows online, which now there's 2 of the other shows are by Bob plus other people, and that will give you a lot of buildup to the information that he is giving out. But also, you'll be able to, if you miss a lot of this information, that you can come onto my website. That's senior issues, etc., etc., and you can go on to the, if you go onto the home page, you'll see all our faces like this, you know, and then it'll first tell you all the areas that the show is seen, and then you'll scroll down and you'll see, I have about 95, I think, online, but you'll see his face, Bob's face, pop up, and you can get this information, because I know that we're putting trying to fit a lot of information in, you know, and where else are you going to hear this, what you can do free? And I want you to, if you have you record and you even make a DVD of this and throw it in a drawer, that if you ever have some sort of an accident, you can say, wait a minute, I got to get this information out, and you'll get this information out, and where you can get more information on it. Now, this is good stuff, I'm telling you, because, you know, I've been in a couple accidents, and I know, like, all this information, how vital it is. And sometimes when you're in something like this, you can't think fast enough, and you say, wait a minute, I got something recorded. So I want you to pay attention to this, because you're not going to get it any other place, and record this, that you can go back and remind yourself. And you know, I have your interest at heart, because it's like, after me being on the air for 18 years, you know, that we know each other real well. And when you have a best friend like that, you know, you want to do, you're finding out information. If somebody tells you where there's a good sale, what do? You call your friends. So what I'm doing is the information I'm finding, I'm spreading it out to you. And you could do this. There's a lot of stuff, you know, we could use these gray cells, keep them going, you know, and we can do a lot of stuff ourselves that we don't have to pay for someone to do it for us. Okay, we're getting back to the free stuff now.
The free stuff. One thing I want to know, one thing I want to let you know, okay, we talked a little bit about how to put together a claim,
okay,
right, for an insurance adjuster.
Okay.
One thing that I think people need to know,
okay,
is what's in their insurance policy.
Oh, what is?
What is, right? Because I think a lot of people, when they come to me, you know what they say? Oh, don't worry, I have full coverage, right? And when you ask them, well, do you have this? Well, I don't know what that is. Or do you have this? And they don't know what that is. So I wanted to go through a little bit of what's in every insurance policy for a car.
Okay, let's go through it.
So the first thing is your property damage insurance. When you're in an accident, your car gets damaged, you have insurance to cover the property damage. And most people know, well, my deductible is $500 or my deductible is $1,000 or whatever it may be, and beyond that it's covered up to a certain limit, okay? That's pretty simple. That's property damage insurance, okay? Another kind of coverage is bodily injury coverage. Okay, BI coverage. Bodily injury coverage means you're at fault in the accident. You injured someone else. And when you have bodily injury insurance, that means if they sue you, your bodily injury insurance comes into play, and bodily injury insurance covers not only their injury, but if they sue you, it covers the cost of your defense attorney. So if you get sued because you caused an accident, you have bodily injury coverage, that means your insurance company, Geico or Farmers or State Farm, appoints a lawyer to defend you. And they defend you, and then if they have a good claim, if you were really at fault, they will pay up to the threshold that you paid for. Okay, that's bodily injury. So there's property damage and bodily injury.
Okay, so it's separate.
They're separate.
And you have to know that they're...
Yeah. I think it would help people to know what's in their policy.
They should question.
Yeah.
They should take it out, examine it, and question, well, what do I have as coverage?
I think insurance agents often tell people, but people don't always remember until they really need it. So there's two more. There's two more. So we covered property damage and bodily injury.
All right.
There's also something called MedPay insurance. MedPay insurance covers you and your medical bills when you're in an accident. Okay, whether you're at fault or not, if you're injured and say you have copays, say you have health insurance or Medicare or some kind of Medicaid, whatever it may be.
Or any other supplementary policy.
Right.
Okay.
Now, you have MedPay insurance to help pay those medical bills. Okay. So sometimes they can pay the copays or the deductible. And sometimes an insurance company, your auto insurance company will require that you use MedPay first and that it be exhausted before you tap into your health insurance to pay your bills. The last kind, and this is the most important kind to have, and so few people know what it is.
What is it?
It's called uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage.
What is it now?
Uninsured, underinsured motorist
coverage. Okay.
What that means is that the worst drivers out there, the most reckless drivers, are sometimes the ones with the worst insurance coverage. So the people that drive the worst sometimes have limits of coverage that the minimum allowed, so $25,000. So they go out there and they drive drunk, they drive while they're texting, they just drive badly, and they have $25,000 of insurance. That means that once that's exhausted, that's all you get from that driver.
Then you can't sue for any more.
You can sue them personally, but sometimes the worst drivers don't have any assets you could recover from. That means you need to buy your own insurance, and you probably already have it, because most people already have it but don't know it. Uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage covers you. It's on your insurance policy now when you're hit by someone with no insurance or minimal insurance.
Well, now, if say, I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
A person has these policies. They don't understand what's in the policies. They can call who they bought the policy.
Yes.
Who they bought the policy from.
And go ahead.
To how you're breaking down everyday law. They break down everyday insurance.
Everyday insurance, yeah. And I advise everyone before it's too late to get as much uninsured, underinsurance coverage as they can, because so many times the accident is caused by someone with very poor insurance.
Very poor insurance.
Or no insurance.
Now this is another, have you got that written down? Or make a DVD of this show so that you have this, that you need this? Now let's say that name again.
Uninsured.
Uninsured.
Underinsured.
Underinsured.
Motorist coverage.
Motorist coverage. See, now, I never heard of that before.
But you have it, I bet.
I bet I have
you
it.
do.
Right.
And another thing I'll talk to you about is that people think, oh, I don't know if I should sue someone. I don't want to go to court, blah, blah, blah. I've been injured in an accident by someone who was drunk or who rear-ended me or was careless, but I don't want to sue someone. So they hesitate to bring a claim. And what they should know is that the first line is not the court. The first line of redress, the first line of getting their claim satisfied and getting paid for their claim is not the courthouse. It's the insurance company of the person that hit you. Insurance companies have an army of adjusters. An army of adjusters, and every adjuster has 100 claims he's working on to resolve. And what you talk to at first, do you remember how we talked about putting together your police report,
your police
your
report,
photos,
the photos,
your witness statements, your medical records and your medical bills.
Okay.
You put that all together and you don't send it to the courthouse. You send it to the insurance adjuster of the car that hit you. The car that hit you has some kind of insurance policy. That insurance company has an adjuster working for it, and his job is to resolve the claim so that it never gets to court. So what you do is you talk to that insurance adjuster.
Now, why would his job be that? Because it would get resolve it, because it would be a lower financial figure, a lower cost for the insurance company to pay out.
Yes.
And these are pros.
Yes.
These are sharks.
Yes. They know, for example, they're going to have to pay out on the claim.
Right.
If it's a good claim and they get the package, they know they're going to have to pay out at the end. So why not pay now instead of pay the same amount later plus their attorney, plus the cost of their attorney if they can't resolve it. It's cheaper. So you're not suing someone initially. You're dealing with Geico and their adjuster. And so when you're in an accident, the first thing you do when you get that police report, you look at the person who hit you, you look at who their insurance company is, let's say it's Geico, and you look at the policy number for Geico. Then you call Geico yourself and say, I was in an accident with your insured. This is his policy number and this is his name, or her name, whatever. And then, can you put me in touch with the claim adjuster? And Geico will say, we'll do that right away. Geico's very good on the phone. They'll put you in touch with the person handling that claim, and they'll give you the contact information for the adjuster, the phone number, the fax number, and the address, and they'll give you the claim number. And it's very important to write down the claim number, because every adjuster has 100 different claims, and they identify that claim by the claim number. Yeah.
So it's very important to keep this accurate.
Yeah.
And that you have this.
Yeah.
Okay, well then what's the next step?
Well, then...
Do they bargain with you?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They start out down here. Okay. You start out up here.
So you have to... are you getting all this? I hope you're taking all this information down, because this is vital.
Now, you want to start out... Now, how do you come up with the number? This is where most people get very puzzled. Most people get puzzled because they don't know... They know the adjuster will start down somewhere below, but where do they start is the question. So this is how you kind of come up with the number. You do your best anyway. You look at your medical bills. That's a hard figure. you're entitled to be compensated for any medical bills that were caused to you by the other party hitting you.
Okay.
You look at any lost wages you might have.
Okay.
Okay? Your lost wages are what time you missed from work because of your injury from the accident.
All right.
It doesn't include time you took out of work because of your physical therapy. You missed work because you had to go to an appointment for the doctor. But if you couldn't work because of the accident and you lost money from your job because of it, you're entitled to be compensated for that. And the last category of money is called your pain and suffering.
Oh.
That's a little harder to come up with a good number for.
Well, we want to make it this much.
As much as possible.
They
They want to make it that much. Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So you start out up here, they start up there.
And then you wiggle worm.
You try to meet somewhere
wiggle
in the middle. Yeah.
I got it. Have you got all that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we'll do is, now we're just approaching the last few minutes of the show. Let's go through an assessment.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go through a quick assessment. Okay, they're in an accident. Steps.
Okay, step one, you're in an accident. Take a deep breath.
Thank God I'm alive.
Thank God you're alive. Call the police. One thing you have to do is call the police.
Yeah.
You know, let them come and make the report. Don't leave the scene of an accident
Okay.
ever, okay? But then when they come, they make a report. Get that
Okay.
report.
Okay.
Get the report. Take photographs at the scene
Okay.
of your car and their car, and remember, make them progressively closer as
Progressively,
you're getting.
so you have an accurate view. Okay.
When you get the police report, look at any witnesses that may be independent.
And they have a telephone number.
And they have a telephone number.
You can
Call
get a
them and get a
witness
statement.
statement.
Yes. When you're done with your treatment, get your medical bills and get your medical records.
Okay.
Then make sure to call the insurance company
Okay.
that's listed on the police report of the car that hit you and give them the policy number and tell them that you were involved in an accident. That will put you in touch with the adjuster for the insurance company, and then you work to resolve the claim where your number's up here, their number's down there, and hopefully you can meet in the middle.
Well, now, will you have any of this information on your website? Are you going to?
I could. I mean, it's all. Yeah. You know what I'll do? What I'll do is
Well, I'm going to have it on my website,
Okay.
and we could link them together.
I'd like that. That's a good idea. Summarizing the show is a good
Right.
idea, and putting it all in kind of a summary for people to look at
As
is a good idea. Yeah.
And what they should do. All right, now, this is my last question. If somebody hasn't gotten enough free stuff from you, why don't you give your telephone number? Will
Thank
you
you.
give
Sure,
them
sure.
a free answer?
Sure. Yeah.
You commit
sure.
yourself to that?
I will commit myself to that.
Okay, give them your telephone number.
My name is Robert Monahan, and my number is 847-848-6165.
Well,
I'll give it again, 847-848-6165.
and give your website one more time.
And my website is www.monahanfirm.com.
Did we squeeze enough free stuff out of him? If you still need more, you got his number. What more can I do for you? You know, you got this with my bleeding heart. Okay, you know what? When you sitting there on the couch, come to the end of your rope, you tie a knot and you hang on. You know why? Because the best is yet to come. And what we want you to do is catch the spirit. God bless you. We love you.